Welcome to the Natural Health Show with one of New England's leading natural health care specialists, Mark Mincola. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 on 95.9 WATD. He's waiting to hear from you.
Welcome home, Natural Health Nation. Great to have you on board. As always, we're here to assist you along in your wellness and get the real information about health and natural medicine. And title of tonight's program is one that is, I think it speaks for itself. And so many folks out there, of course, have been through the ringer with regards to the present medical availabilities and present medicine and the state of medicine. And we thought that a great title would be one that correlates with a presentation I'm actually doing this coming Thursday at the Red Lion Inn in Cohasset. This Thursday, May 31st, I'll be at the Red Lion Inn at 7 p.m. And we're going to be talking about the very same topic. We're going to be talking with you this evening about make food your medicine. Make food your medicine. These are really important words to you, and most of you, of course, are aware of how important these words are and why they are, but there's some real specific things we're going to tackle this evening, as well we will on Thursday, this coming Thursday, the May 31st presentation at the Red Lion Inn in Cohasset. But I'd like to start off just with some information that I think really kind of speaks volumes for itself. You know, when you think about what Hippocrates said thousands of years ago, primum non nocere. Primum non nocere. First, do no harm. That's a very powerful message that Hippocrates gave us. If we're going to heal, if we're going to practice medicine, numero uno, folks, make sure we're not hurting anybody. Now, nobody has the intention to do that, I'm aware of that, but on the 26th of July, the year 2000, July 26th, 2000, a dozen years ago, the Journal of American Medicine published an interesting statement. Doctor errors are the third leading cause of death in America following heart disease and cancer. I'm going to say that one more time. Doctor error is the third leading cause of death in America following heart disease, number one, and cancer, number two. They went on in that very same Journal of American Medicine report in July 26th of the year 2000 to state that doctor errors are responsible for 225,000 deaths per year, 106,000 of which result from adverse reactions or adverse effects of pharmaceutical medication. So medication is now killing 106,000 people a year. And we go back to Hippocrates, primum non nocere. First, do no harm. We're losing 106,000 people a year. One of the leading causes of death is, you guessed it, medicine. How crazy is that? It's true, it's reality. Unfortunately, we're going to have to face that reality. That's why our message to you this evening is, make food your medicine. And there's some real substance to that claim. We'll talk about that throughout the evening. But World Health Report 2000, if you've not seen it, I would encourage you to get a look at it. World Health Report 2000. The World Health Organization did an extensive health evaluation of 191 nations that are part of the World Health Organization. 191 nations from around the world. The efficiency, the overall health efficiency, the overall health system performance, if you will, of 191 of the world's World Health Organization nations. So of all the industrial nations of the world, how did we stack up? I'd like to ask you one other question prior to that. Have you ever heard of San Marino, Andorra, or Malta, or Oman? Have you ever heard of Cyprus, Dominica? Now, many of you probably are aware of those nations, but the real question is, why am I mentioning them? What exactly do those nations have in common? What does San Marino, Andorra, Malta, Oman, Dominica, and Cyprus, what do those nations have in common? They belong to 36 nations, 36 countries that finished ahead of the United States of America in terms of overall health system performance. There were 36 nations that finished ahead of us. So hopefully we can make better on that, and I think one of the ways we can do that is for you and I to take greater responsibility and to prevent disease and to take more responsibility through better nutrition. So making food your medicine is a very integral part of that whole process. Incidentally, we do play a significant role in what the World Health Organization discovered, because they evaluated, again, 191 nations of the world for the overall health system performance, and it included one category, that is the health of its nation's people, the health of the people of these 191 aforementioned industrial nations. The health of the United States of America finished 72nd. 72, folks, is how we stacked up against France, Italy, San Marino, Andorra, Malta, Singapore, Spain, Oman, Austria, Japan, Norway, Portugal, Monaco, Greece. They all finished ahead of us. They're healthier than we are. And their health system is healthier than ours. Nonetheless, we can make a difference. And all the most recent and the most compelling and powerful research indicates that food really can be our preventive medicine. According to the McGovern Committee report, Senate Subcommittee report as far back as 1976, 30% of all heart disease-related deaths, 30% of all cancer-related deaths preventable with diet alone. That is approximately 400,000, nearly 500,000 Americans that could be saved through nutrition alone. Just counting the number one, number two killer. Hey, when we come back from this series of messages, make food your medicine. Stay right where you are.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. Every time you open a magazine or turn on your TV, it's all about anti-aging and getting healthy. At Good Health, we believe that lasting health includes good eating, environmental awareness, and a healthy lifestyle. That's why we offer the latest products you read about and hear about on Dr. Oz. Fresh juices from Columbia Gorge, 100% organic produce, natural groceries, fresh wraps and salads for busy professionals, gluten-free products for those with food allergies, sports supplements, and vitamins for the whole family, nutritious food bars and prepared meals for seniors, students, or anyone on a budget. So come by Quincy or Hanover today. Visit GoodHealthNaturalFood.com to see what's on deal. Our promise to you, wholesome products, everyday low prices, and amazing customer care. Good Health, your neighborhood natural market. Always 100% shopper friendly and here for you and your family. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
You know, when most people hear the word allergies, they think only of hay fever-like symptoms associated with airborne pollen, dust, and mold. But did you know that many experts estimate that between 60 and 80 million of us suffer from immune-related food allergies without even knowing it? Furthermore, food allergies often contribute to serious health problems such as autism, irritable bowel syndrome, ADD, headaches, and chronic ear infections. Now, there's an effective way to identify and eliminate both your food allergies and the troubling symptoms that they aggravate. Allotest Medical Labs at foodallergy.com offers a full complement of clinical, environmental, and food allergy testing to help you get to the root of your allergy problems. Allotest also provides you with a comprehensive rotation diet, lifestyle booklet, and a wallet card to help you live food allergy-free and stress-free. Do you wonder if you or your loved ones are among the 60 to 80 million food allergy sufferers in America? If so, log on to Allotest Medical Labs, foodallergy.com. Talk to your doctor about ordering a food allergy test from Allotest Medical Labs today. Foodallergy.com. Make sure the food you're eating isn't what's depleting you.
Now back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods, Jarrow Formulas, and Ultimate Healing Journey.
Alrighty, welcome back. Hopefully you're all doing well, taking good care of those precious bodies and minds. And we're adding to that flavor this evening because we're talking with you about making food your medicine. And again, I'll be at the Red Lion Inn. Lovely place, been recently redone. If you haven't checked it out, it's we're going to give you that opportunity because I'm doing a talk on making food your medicine this coming Thursday, May 31st at 7 o'clock at night. That'll be at the Red Lion Inn in Cohasset. Anybody interested in information, 781-383, which is the old Cohasset Exchange, 3393, pretty easy. 781-383-3393. A lot of threes there. So just dial a bunch of threes, throw an 8 and a 9 in the middle somewhere, and we'll get you set up for action, because it's going to be a very special night. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm really feeling like this is going to be a major evening's event. And before we do all that, though, before we talk to you more about making food your medicine, we're going to get to David on the line from Concord. Welcome, David.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Terrific. How are you?
Great. Do you mind? I have two short questions.
Go for it.
I have a 95-year-old aunt who I love dearly, and she doesn't have dementia. She doesn't have Alzheimer's, but her memory is short-term memory is really starting to get compromised. And the only thing I was aware of from my reading is acetyl L-carnitine, and I don't know how good it is. So I just wanted to know if you had any advice on a 95-year-old robust person whose short-term memory is getting significantly poor.
Well, first of all, tip of the hat to you, because for you to be a caring, loving guy that you are, and to be a difference maker, we salute you for that, number one.
Thanks.
But
pretty open to my silly ideas.
And listen, I think that she obviously loves you right on back. So,
yeah, that's true.
Here's the key. There's in 2005 there was a really remarkable study that was done at UCLA out on the West Coast in conjunction with the Veterans Administration. And this particular study really was very compelling in that it seemed to suggest that you could dramatically reverse the effects of dementia and Alzheimer's with a product called EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate. EGCG is, of course, a very powerful antioxidant extract from green tea.
Well, I just wanted to mention that she's not showing any of the... I've been around dementia and Alzheimer's patients. She's not showing any signs, of traditional dementia and Alzheimer's in terms of her logic and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the short-term memory. It's been seriously compromised. That could be dementia or early dementia potentially.
Yeah. Here's what happens. I mean, I think that over a period of time, as we age, unfortunately, there's a tremendous amount of glycosylation that takes place in the brain. Glycosylation is sort of a natural expression that takes place that's genetic. And it's a genetic expression that unfortunately increases the plaquing response in the brain. Mm-hmm. And, as time goes on, there unfortunately is a greater tendency towards certain nerve pathways being plaqued. And again, one nerve pathway may perform memory, another nerve pathway performs something like, the idea of mathematical capability, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think, you get different pathways, but you want to make sure that there's a couple nutrients that I'd recommend. One is the EGCG. And there's a product called EGCG Max. At 700 milligrams, I'd recommend 2 a day. Number 2, with that, again, this particular study and a number of other studies say that when you combine EGCG, with DHA, now, you've read the side of the fish oil containers when people take their fish oils, they're omega-3s. Right. One of the key ingredients in your omega-3s is called DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. You want to make sure that that's added to the mix. So you want to take 500 milligrams of you want to have her take 500 milligrams of the DHA along with the 1,400 milligrams of the EGCG. The two will work famously together. The last thing, I mean, again, I don't want to bog her down with a lot of different things, but there's something called vinpocetine, VINPOCETIN, vinpocetine. And vinpocetine is really a superb enzyme at actually increasing the nerve transmission, the circulation response in the brain. So it kind of gets things moving a little sharper up there. A little more action in the brain, good results.
Would you bother to use the acetyl L-carnitine?
I think you're doing the right thing with it, because I think you're approaching it from a slightly different perspective. You're approaching it from the perspective of free radicals. Free radicals, which are, of course, at the bottom of all these aging realities that we contend with as we age, including memory, etc. So you're probably doing the right thing. I think that you're working one end of the street. I think you need to work the other end of the street as well.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
My second question involves a friend of mine, a woman who's about 35, who had a bad fall and resulting foot injury, has now given rise to, her foot doctor says, osteoarthritis.
Right.
And the only thing I know about for osteoarthritis is the old traditional Dr. Christopher's bone, bone cartilage and whatever that contains comfrey, a kind of a paste. And do you have any thoughts on a chronic, really sore foot from osteoarthritis that developed after a fall?
Yeah, three things. Number one, it's food. You got to make sure you whoever that person is, you got to get them off the animal products, get them off the red meat, egg yolks, dairy products right away, ASAP. Those are number 1, 2, and 3 recommendations.
Okay.
Because those will drive up the arachidonic acid. Those are going to drive up the inflammatory tendencies. So you got to take care of business at a nutrition level first. Secondly, I like the collagen idea. I think that's a great idea. There's some really good collagen powders out there that are very easy to take, very inexpensive. They're in little tiny scoopers. They blend in water. Generally, collagen, you're looking at 5 to 6 grams or 5 to 6,000 milligrams per little tiny scooper. I'd recommend 2 of those a day. So 2 scoops of collagen powder, the equivalent of about 10 to 15 grams a day. I think those are the 2 key recommendations.
They call collagen powder.
Collagen powder, absolutely right. And number 3, for pain. We want to help them with pain as well. So I think that probably the best way to go there would be Wobenzyme, Wobenzyme, 3 a day.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Hey, listen, thank you very much. This
Pleasure.
show is absolutely incredible.
Thank you so much, and so is your TLC. Keep it up.
Thank you, and thanks for the good work.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, let's move on to our topic here, and we're talking about making food your medicine. It's become a very important battle cry. There's some real important push behind the statement of making food your medicine these days because, again, we're not getting it done. And the reason I brought up some of those dark numbers and those images prior to getting on board with this program here this evening is because it's a reality that we Americans, we live in the greatest country in the world, but we tend to get a little lax. We kind of slack off from time to time and just assume that we get the best availability of everything. We don't. We really don't. Those days have gone by. We need to take a new measure of responsibility and make changes in our own world. I always contend that the reason why healthcare in America is slacking and is really falling behind is not because of the Surgeon General, is not because of your doctor, is not because of the hospitals. It's actually because of you and I. We've got to basically pick up the mantle of responsibility and make food our medicine. I really believe that's the key. And as we said earlier, when you think about the fact that the McGovern Senate Subcommittee of 1976, a gazillion years ago, was the first, the reason I bring it up is because it was the very first Senate Subcommittee ever to hear testimony and to really accumulate information regarding the health and welfare of the nutritional status of America. So it was really the first time the government ever got involved in, hey, let's take a look at American healthcare from a perspective of nutrition and prevention. Well, they did that. That was the very first time. They heard testimony from 1,100 scientists heralding from 8 different countries. And after hearing 1,100 testimonials from some of the world's finest experts in nutrition and healthcare, they established that 30% of all heart disease-related deaths and 30% of all cancer-related deaths were preventable through nutrition alone, through food, folks. So those numbers, we extrapolate those numbers, we're talking 400,000, almost 500,000 Americans a year are dying needlessly because they're not getting the information or the inspiration or the truth regarding the potential medicinal power of food. So, okay, let's think about this. You do the math. I did the math. I did a little bit of extrapolating before I came over to the studio tonight. That makes 1,818 people we're talking about, because we're talking about 600,000. We're talking about 1,818 people a day, every day, that are dying of heart disease and cancer that are preventable. These are needless deaths. So we're talking about 660 folks being the maximum number that can fit on a 747. So imagine if you woke up to the newspaper every day with 5 747s packed to the gills going down. If that were the case, it would get your attention. but because this is the same number that we're talking about, but it's only related to not eating properly, eating too much fatty food, eating too much sugar, eating too much junk food, nobody cares. But we're talking about the same numbers, folks. You know, and my bigger point is we need to make food our medicine because we are falling behind. Again, doctor errors are the third leading cause of death in America following heart disease and cancer. That's according to the Journal of American Medicine, July 26, the year 2000. The same report from the Journal of American Medicine goes on to say that doctor errors are responsible for 225,000 deaths a year, 106,000 of which result from adverse effects to medicine. So when we're at a point now where our medicine is killing 106,000 Americans a year, and our nutrition is killing 1,818 a day, it's time to make food your medicine. Simple conclusion. And what about the reality of making food your medicine? How substantial is it? Because again, I think people tend to get the impression that food is food. It's nothing but fun. It has no power other than pleasure. Well, that's really, nothing could be further from the truth. The oldest nutrition study known on planet Earth is the China study. It's a 37-year ongoing nutrition study. Dr. T. Colin Campbell. Anybody who's watched if you haven't watched it, you really need to look at this film. It's a remarkable YouTube film. Check it out. Forks Over Knives. Check it out. Forks Over Knives. I know most of you have seen it. Great flick. Well done. I've read the China study as well, which is really kind of the same message. But T. Colin Campbell, great work. Hats off to your really remarkable efforts. And hopefully more folks, like our listening audience, will start paying attention to the message. Again, this is a 37-year ongoing study, the longest of its kind, and a film that goes with it called Forks Over Knives. The message, the bottom line, less animal food. Less animal food. Less inflammatory food. Less junk. Less processed food. More produce is the bottom line. It's the old fruits and vegetables trick. And again, when you consider that most Americans are eating an ample supply of dairy products, because we're told, of course, that's where we get all our calcium, and that's just kind of a tired old act. Or the idea that we should be eating a lot of red meat to get our B12, or the fact that we should be eating a lot of, quote, healthy desserts, made from cherry pies and all that stuff. I mean, come on. We're talking about inflammation here. 72% of all disease is now inflammatory. 68% of all preventable deaths are inflammatory. So the bottom line of it is that there is not a really clear understanding or a commitment between those who educate us, inspire us, and the choices that we make at the grocery store. Again, we have a healthcare system that we're talking about a healthcare budget right now that's well into the trillions. Some have estimated it'll balloon up to $5 trillion healthcare budget. 1% of it is for prevention. 1%. And when they say it's for prevention, that means breast exams and colorectal exams, et cetera, et cetera. They're not talking about nutrition, believe me. They may kind of put on a good face and say eat more fruits and vegetables, but if you're not going to take care of yourself, if you're not making the difference, it is not going to get made. When you think about what, again, the reality of nutrition as medicine is all about, study after study after study. I spoke with Dr. Daniel Nixon several years back. We brought him in on the show for folks who were fortunate enough to hear that interview a number of years ago, from the University of South Carolina. And he is still doing research on raspberries down at the University of South Carolina Medical School at the Hollings Cancer Research Institute. Raspberries. That's what I said, raspberries. I didn't say drugs, I said raspberries. But what he found after 9 years of study is that in animal studies where they were injected with 9 different forms of human cancer. 9 different forms of human cancer, including pancreatic, esophageal, blah, blah, blah. That after 35 weeks, on the equivalent of 1/4 cup of raspberries a day, the human equivalent of a 1/4 cup of raspberries a day, 66% remission of tumor sites. 66% remission. That the tumor sites were pretty well cleaned out and gone after 35 weeks. The equivalent of a 1/4 cup of raspberries a day. Because of an antioxidant in the little seeds of raspberries called ellagic acid. An antioxidant that actually caused what's called G arrest. It arrested and stopped, completely shut down the replication of cancer, and caused apoptosis, which is cancer cell death, which means it is a chemotherapy agent, except it's nothing more than raspberry seeds. These are the words used by Dr. Daniel Nixon, and also similar studies done at Ohio State University by Dr. Gary Stoner. Black raspberries. Black raspberries. We're talking about raspberries. So there are similar studies that we're going to discuss with you this evening regarding food as medicine. And again, as I brought up earlier in the broadcast, this is going to be the topic of the event, of the evening rather, at an event that I'm going to be putting on Thursday, May 31st, this coming Thursday, at 7 p.m. at the Red Lion Inn, Cohasset, Massachusetts. 781-383-3393 for tickets. Hey, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Mark Mincola. You know, over the past decade, the Natural Health Show has attracted many thousands of avid listeners. As the show approaches its 10th anniversary this coming June, I'd like to extend an open invitation to all potential new sponsors to join our Natural Health Show family. If you own a Heart Smart lighter fare or seafood restaurant, a fitness or day spa, or if you're an allied health professional or coach, the Natural Health Show is the perfect place for you to make the direct connection with your demographic target. If you really want to zero in and aim the message of your vision directly at those who want to most know about it, join the Natural Health Show family of sponsors. I promise you'll be glad you did. For information, call Candida at 781-834-2728. That's 781-834-2728. With the burgeoning growth of the Natural Health Show, now's the perfect time to share in that growth together.
With over 40 years of aesthetic experience and almost a full decade of laser expertise, Bell Aesthetics and Babyface Skin Spa in Norwell offer a full range of services including spa nail treatments and airbrush tanning.
Enjoy spa services from a luxury spa facial up to a medical-grade laser treatments, including the new dual Fraxel laser.
Brighten and tighten your skin with a wide range of medical-grade peels from Obagi and Skin Medica. Most treatments have no downtime and show immediate benefits.
Book now at Bella Aesthetics and Babyface Skin Spa and look your best all year round. We also offer medical-grade products for your home maintenance.
If you're looking for experience, expertise, and results, we're looking for you.
Call us today, 781-987-1365, and transform the skin you're in.
Bella Aesthetics and Babyface Skin Spa.
Find us online at babyfaceskinspa.net or visit us at 400 Washington Street, Route 53, Norwell.
Make plans now for the Healthy Living Magazine Expo and get a healthy dose of self-exploration and fun. June 3rd, 10 to 4 at the Radisson Plymouth Waterfront Hotel. Your free pass allows you to explore the exhibit hall, enjoy reading, jewelry, nutrition, Reiki, massage, and so much more. Featuring guests like Donna Green, Sally Felton, Julie Rosenshine, Cheryl Comu, Mal Duane, Frankie Weeks, Joe Lynch, Nancy Smith, Don Quesnel, Bill Bean, Deborah Livingston, Eric Linter, and Deborah Lynn Toomey. Learn about reducing clutter, eating right, drawing spirit in, the astrology of happiness, and your inner strength. Interested in trying out a class? Learn about drumming, crystal bowl meditation, Zumba, laughter yoga, and so many more possibilities at the Healthy Living Magazine Expo. There will be a silent auction to benefit the Magical Moon Foundation. Their mission is to nurture and empower children with cancer. And stay for the after event as Donna Green kicks off the 2011 Healthy Champion Reception at 4. Learn more at myhealthylivingmag.com. That's myhealthylivingmag.com. Healthy Living Magazine's purpose is to help bring you prosperity, health, and balance to your life. But you have to show to take the first steps. The Healthy Living Magazine Expo, June 3rd from 10 to 4 at the Radisson Plymouth Waterfront Hotel. Vendors, reserve your space. Call 781-834-2728.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Healthy Living Magazine and Alites Medical Laboratory.
Alrighty, welcome back. And this is going to be a festive week, of course, because as we keep telling you, I'm going to be at the Red Lion Inn on Thursday, the 31st, this coming week at Red Lion Inn Cohasset at 7 o'clock. Also, of course, Candida has the Healthy Living Expo, which is going to be this coming Sunday, the 3rd of June. So that should be a great take as well. And hopefully you're making your plans accordingly. Great week. Should be a fun week for everybody. And, all right, we're talking with you this evening about food as medicine, making food your medicine. It's time we did it because we are way behind here in terms of our possibilities, in terms of our potential to save lives, to improve life quality. We're just not able to really make that leap, that jump that gap, and really understand that food is, of course, pleasurable, but it's also medicinal, and that's really an important point. You know, in 2005, the USDA did a remarkable study, the ORAC study, which is oxygen radical absorbance capacity. What that really means is the USDA sat down, scratched their wooden heads, and they said, look, we've got to figure out how to convey to America, the American public, what are the healthiest foods that we could possibly recommend for them to eat. How do you recommend, how do you convey the most recommendable foods, the most nutritional rich foods, the healthiest foods, the most disease preventive foods. So they developed a system called ORAC, and it's a scoring system that essentially measures the amount of antioxidants that a food has. And the top 10 foods that they found, the top 10 disease preventive foods, top 10, 8 of the top 10 were beans and berries. Beans and berries. Number 1, red kidney beans, numero uno, the most disease-preventive food on planet Earth. Red kidney beans. Number 2, wild blueberries. Again, 8 of the 10 were beans and berries. And again, we just talked about the studies that have been done at the University of South Carolina Medical School and at the Ohio State University with Dr. Gary Stoner and Dr. Daniel Nixon regarding the important discoveries of the black raspberries, as an anti-cancer agent. So we're finding that from the ORAC study, the USDA ORAC study, the same kind of message, that berries are really way up on that list. Now, the point system that the USDA developed pretty much is a relative point schedule, and they found that the highest antioxidant-rich foods had a point total of just under 15,000 points. Now, why do I bring that up? I'll tell you why I bring it up, because they found that the average American doesn't get 1,000 points. That's crazy. If 8 of the top 10 are beans and berries, are the most disease-preventive, antioxidant-rich foods. 8 of the top 10 are beans and berries. And the average American doesn't get 1,000 points, and the top 3 or 4 or 5 foods were in the range of between 10 and 15,000 points per quarter cup. This is insane. People are eating ring dings. Tim, do you have ring dings over there? No, you don't? Okay. So my point is, living food. It's exactly what we found out in the China study, that it's about produce. It's the whole idea that living food brings life. We're just not making that connection enough, apparently. But again, in this particular study, they then went on and they started to look at spices like clove and cinnamon, turmeric, cumin, parsley, oregano, blah, blah, blah. The average spice per quarter teaspoon was 25 to 30 times higher than the highest food. So, okay, let's talk about blueberries and cinnamon. A little serving of blueberries and cinnamon gets your antioxidant point total up to about 80,000. Okay? 80,000. The average American isn't getting 1,000 points a day. The USDA recommended a minimum of 3. They're saying, please, America, please, We're giving you these numbers. Get the message. At least try to consume 3,000 to prevent cancer, heart disease, etc., etc., etc. Please. Because as we speak right now, 68% of all preventable death is directly due to inflammation, and antioxidants such as these are anti-inflammatory. This is not complicated stuff. This is real simple stuff. Stop eating junk. Start eating the real thing. Get down to the produce stand tomorrow morning. You'll save your life. So, what is it about fruits and vegetables? What is it about spice? How can they be that important? How can they be that medicinal? What is the deal? Well, first of all, they really and truly are the deal. They really and truly are that medicinal. It's a real thing. Disease is triggered by breakdown in antioxidants in the body. Oxidation is caused by free radicals. We've heard that term many times before without getting too complicated about it. Free radicals are like little vampires. They're running around in your bloodstream right now, and they're trying to basically turn healthy cells of yours into vampires. And there's a kind of chain reaction response that can happen here. So in other words, when there's so many of these vampire cells that are, of course, turning other healthy cells into more vampire cells, it becomes a chain reaction. The only thing that nature provided you with that can stop the vampiring of healthy cells and the encouragement of disease, the beginnings of disease, because the more vampire cells there are, the closer you get to disease A, B, C. Whatever your genetic map is, you are headed down the wrong road. Now, the only thing nature provided you with that stops that turns it around, are antioxidants. Blueberries, cinnamon. Antioxidants terminate this chain reaction of vampires. This cellular vampiring at an atomic level, at a cellular level, is something that actually is interfered with, inhibited, so that you are defended and protected from this happening by one source and one source alone: antioxidants. So yes, you can take your vitamin C. Sure, you can take your vitamin E. And absolutely, you can take your beta-carotene. And you can take your N-acetylcysteine, of course, and your glutathiones, and your alpha-lipoic acids from the health food store. Absolutely. But if you're eating dead food, you don't stand a chance. You've got to eat produce and be fairly liberal with at least 1 or 2 spices. Find a spice you like. Find one that doesn't make your stomach hurt. Find a spice that is usable for you, that's something that actually can find its way into your diet safely and comfortably, and use it with regularity. I say try to find a couple spices and rotate them. You know, the cinnamons, the oreganos, the parsleys. Buy them down at Good Health Natural Foods. Get them organic and use them. Use them with a lot of produce. Use them with a lot of beans and a lot of berries. And for those of you who are not accustomed to cooling it with some of the animal food, moving over into some of these vegetarian type protein options, beans, refries. You know, there's a lot of really good stuff now. There's a lot of good product brands out there, like the Annie's beans, for example, Eden beans. These are really fine products. These are organic beans. A lot of the refries, that kind of stuff, that are safe. They're not even really fried. They're termed as refries, but they're not really refried. They're not fried, but they're kind of crushed up and spiced, and then you warm them up and eat them. But again, to use things that are more vegan or vegetarian as protein options, not a half bad idea to get used to sort of blending your protein so that one day you're doing beans, the next day you're doing fish, next day you're doing some poultry. Kind of work it out so that you're trying to bring more of that vegetarian protein in. Lean protein is the key. And the real big key is more produce and more spice, because you want to start supporting yourself with antioxidants and offsetting those free radicals. That's muy importante. Really got to get that right. Also, I do recommend that folks check out, as I keep saying, the Forks Over Knives video. Take a look at that. And The China study, of course, is something I would always encourage people to go out and buy and read. It's just beautifully done. It really is great. There's a lot to learn in it. The biggest epidemiological study known to man, 37-year ongoing epidemiological or population-based study. Can't miss with it. But I want to talk about a couple specific foods here and a couple really important points when we're talking about food as medicine, because there are some real specific references I think are pretty important. The MD Anderson Cancer Center at the University of Texas in Houston has done a great deal of research on allylic sulfides. Now that's a big term, but all you have to know is onions or garlic or cloves. Spicy stuff. They have an antioxidant that is ever so powerful. So of course, when you peel the onion, you cut it up, you dice it, you start to water, your eyes start to water, your eyes kind of burn and they hurt a little bit. It's because of the power of the allylic sulfides. The thing that makes your eyes water when you dice up that onion, allylic sulfides, those very powerful antioxidants. And the good news is they don't just make you cry, they make heart disease cry, they make cancer cry. They are powerful agents. The very reason that they're actually causing that sort of pain and suffering for those peepers of yours is because they have they pack a potent antioxidant. Also been studied extensively at research centers around the world. Recently, in a study of more than 120,000 men and women in the Netherlands, researchers looked at the amounts of the allylic sulfide containing onions were in the diet. They found that the higher incidence of onions showed for a significantly lower incidence of digestive and stomach cancer because of the allylic sulfides. They also went on to do animal studies similarly, and they found that when animals were exposed to human cancer chemicals or carcinogenic compounds, that the animals that were fed the highest amount of allylic sulfides, or garlic if you will, developed 76% fewer tumors than those given normal food without them. So we're talking about digestive protection of the digestive lining. That's what the allylic sulfides offer you. There's also been study after study about the clotting factor, fibrin symplast, the idea that the allylic sulfides thin your blood. So there's so many folks out there that are on Coumadin, and I always remind everybody that Mother Nature had a different set of solutions for you. Among them, things like clove, things like garlic, scallions, leeks, onions. They have this incredible allylic sulfide power to thin blood. So there are 9 different categories of these phytonutrient families that actually neutralize free radicals, eliminate toxic waste, regulate hormones, and it's really a matter of understanding that these potent antioxidants, like the allylic sulfides that we just talked about, are really medicine. Allylic sulfides, carotenoids, of course. Carotenoids are found in your broccoli, cantaloupe, carrots, green and red tomatoes, orange, yellow tomatoes as well. And they've been found to prevent heart disease and certain forms of cancer. Flavonoids, with regard to the powerful flavonoids that are found in apples, broccoli, citrus, cranberries, endive, grape juice, kale, onions, red wines. Don't get carried away with the red wines, you guys. There's something called selective hearing. Tim's smiling there in the control room. He liked that red wine a bit. Tim, take that smile right off your face. No more red wine for you. No, just small amounts. Little goes a long way, right? And, of course, indoles, which people are starting to learn more about because of many of the cancer studies that have been done with broccoli and sulforaphane. The indoles that are in broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, mustard greens, etc., stimulate cancer-preventing enzymes, and they lower the levels of harmful estrogen. I always remind people that there are plant-like estrogen substances that are very, very different than the estrogen-like substances that animals produce. So when folks are really worried about, when women in particular are really worried and concerned about estrogen-positive cancers, and they say, well, I can't take that because that food has estrogen, there are studies right now that are suggesting otherwise, because the There are two different types of estrogen. There's that 1.6 alpha-hydroxyestrone and a 2.0 alpha-hydroxyestrone. The 1.6 is animal-based, such as hormone replacement therapy would have from cows and pigs and horses. And then there's the 2.0 alpha-hydroxyestrone from mustard greens and from wild yams and from soy, for example. These are very different. Animal estrogens are 2,000 times more concentrated, number one. Number two, the most current research shows that they antagonize each other. They go head-to-head. They work against each other. So the estrogen from your mustard greens is going to work against the estrogen that is potentially inflammatory, that is animal-based in your body. So I always remind people that you really want to make sure you distinguish that these natural estrogens and these isoflavones have the ability to lower harmful estrogens and to antagonize them and lower the risk for cancers. So do a little bit of searching and Googling in that regard. There's Vanderbilt University, a lot of research at Vanderbilt regarding that business, so you check that out. Lignans. Everybody knows about lignans because they know about flax seeds and the ability that they have to, again, lower harmful estrogens as well. And they're also recommended for fiber, and you know what fiber's for, of course. Lower that risk of colorectal cancer. The fiber recommendations have been elevated to 30 grams a day. The average American is taking 12. So one of the fastest growing forms of cancer in this country is colorectal cancer because, again, America is not eating their blueberries. They're not getting their fiber. They're eating foods that are highly processed that taste good. Well, blueberries taste pretty good too, folks. Don't forget that. Anyway, so lignans provide us with flax seeds, and flax seeds are, again, really, really helpful at antagonizing dangerous estrogens and providing us with that ever so important fiber, getting that fiber count in the diet to elevate, because Lord knows we're not getting even half the fiber that we're recommended, unfortunately. Phenols, PHENOLs, we talked about those a little while ago because those ellagic acids, like little seeds that are in your raspberries, that are in your strawberries and blackberries, those little ellagic acid seeds are phenols. Phenols have been written about and studied extensively as arguably the most powerful of all antioxidants found in foods. The French paradox. French wine, of course, and we're talking about phenols, berries, grapes, phenols, very, very important. You know, berries and grapes are really loaded with a lot of different antioxidants. The phenols we talked about. There's also something called monoterpenes or perylyl alcohol. Monoterpenes are very powerful antioxidants that have been found to be real powerhouses against a variety of different cancers as well. Very important stuff. Hey, we're up against the clock here. We've got some light bills to pay, and we're going to be right back. Stay tuned.
Are you one of the 20 million Americans suffering from neuropathy, shingles, or chronic nerve pain? In the last 3 years, many people have discovered excellent and affordable treatment for diabetic, post-chemotherapy, and other types of neuropathy and chronic pain. Dr. John Hayes, chiropractic physician since 1981 on Route 53 in Norwell, has had such astounding results with his unique neuropathy program that he's now teaching his remarkable system to doctors around the country. His most recent book, entitled Beating Neuropathy, remains a bestseller. In fact, Dr. John Hayes is the world's exclusive educator and trainer for Rebuilder Medical Technologies. Call Dr. Hayes' office 24/7 to schedule a free neuropathy analysis. Call 781-659-7989. That's 781-659-7989. Call now while free neuropathy analysis slots are open.
Struggling with weight loss? Would you like to learn about foods that raise your metabolism? Are you maximizing your calorie burning potential? Hi, this is Mark Mincola, New England's leading natural healthcare expert. Join me for my Metabolic Weight Loss Management Seminar Friday, 7 p.m., June 8th at the Whitman Wellness Center in Whitman, Mass. Come learn how to better manage the stresses that sabotage your weight loss metabolism. Don't be frustrated fighting those extra pounds anymore. Come and learn how to master your metabolism in mind and body. That's Friday, June 8th, 7 p.m. at the Whitman Wellness Center, 7 Marble Street, number B12. For information, call 508-615-9806. Maximize your calorie burning potential.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by iFree2B and Dr. Mustando of Marshfield Chiropractic.
Alrighty, welcome back, and maximize your calorie burning potential. That should be fun too down in Whitman. We're looking forward to that. As well, we look forward to this coming Thursday at the Red Lion, and we're going to be chatting more about these very things that we're chatting with you about this evening, which is how to make food your medicine. And wow, that is a plea as well. Please do make food your medicine. One of the things I wanted to make sure I covered here before we get out of here is that a lot of folks are really confused about that whole issue about soybeans and about estrogen positive sensitivities, etc. And there's one of the books that I really do like is that there's a wonderful book by Celine Yeager called The Prevention's New Foods for Healing. And in her book, she goes on to say Asian women have breast cancer rates 5 to 8 times lower than those of American women. One of the main reasons many experts say is because of all the soy foods in their diet. So again, breast cancer rates in Asia 5 to 8 times lower. Soybeans and foods made like them, like tofu, tempeh, along with kidney beans, chickpeas, and lentils, can contain a compound called isoflavones, most notably genistein and diadzine. Like indoles, she writes, these may act as estrogen regulators in the body and therefore may help lower the risk of hormone-based cancers. Now, I said that clearly. Lower the risk of hormone-based cancers. In a landmark study of nearly 143,000 women in Japan that spanned 17 years, researchers found that women eating the most soy products had the lowest incidence of breast cancer. So how much more clearly can we state it? A lot of women have been scared off the soy, and a lot of people, of course, are very, very confused because estrogen positive terror is one that has unfortunately clouded this issue. But again, if Asian, think about that alone, Asian women having a breast cancer rate 5 to 8 times lower than American women. Well, we don't eat a lot of soy, and they surely do. I mean, that is their staple in their diet overseas. So, as we said earlier, the indoles and the isoflavones, these are antioxidant families that have been studied over and over and over and over for their ability to help balance our health out and to help us prevent disease, to lower disease risk factors. Remember how we began the program? Hippocrates, primum non nocere, first do no harm. This is food, folks. This is food. I think it begins with food, and it really comes clearly to mind that these studies point out in research project after project, over and over, study after study, that we're at this time in human history where food really is being discovered as having medicinal qualities, lowering cancer risks, lowering heart disease risks, and on and on and on. So I think it's really important for us to really do some research in these areas and to really start getting into the produce and following some of the important lead information that we get from studies like the China study, or like the landmark Chinese study that we just talked about a few minutes ago, the landmark Japanese study, rather, we just talked about. And again, to look at a lot of the new studies that are out there these days. We talked about the sulforaphane studies that were done at Johns Hopkins University, where they found in animal studies, they found that they injected animals with powerful human cancer risk factors, tumor cells, and carcinogens, very powerful carcinogens or cancer-causing agents. And they found that the tumor rates were 68% higher in the animals that weren't protected with sulforaphane from broccoli, which has the ability to block. It's an isothiocyanate. It blocks the development of cancer in the body. So in these animal studies at Johns Hopkins, there was a 68% differential. 68%. Incredible. So you know, it really does come down to food. Food really is your medicine, and it's a question of whether or not we're going to continue to evolve in this direction and grow in this direction, because that is where we're at, because our healthcare system is a wreck, and it's about to become an economic disaster as well if it hasn't already. So the key isn't, as I keep saying, the Surgeon General or your physician or your nearby hospital. The key is you and I. The key is the determination that we have and that we put forth to make differences with our diet. It takes discipline, takes care, and hopefully you have the discipline to care for yourself. But anyway, once again, we're going to recommend that everybody try to get on down to the Red Lion Inn, Cohasset, this coming Thursday at 7 o'clock. That's the 31st of May. And if you're interested in finding out more about it, just call 781-383. Here goes all those threes again. 383-3393. That 9 kind of ruins it, doesn't it? 781-383-3393. Also, anybody interested in finding out more information about similar topics, nutrition, natural medicine, etc., you go to my website. Check it out. Simple enough to get there. It's one word, Max Healing, maxhealing.com. maxhealing.com. You get right to the website. There's a lot of video. There's all kinds of written information, all kinds of doodling here and there. So we put a lot of really interesting info together for you on our website. Hopefully you check it out if you haven't already. That's maxhealing.com. And let's see what else we have to talk about. Get on down on the 3rd, which is this coming Sunday. We'll be here to talk to you after the event, but hopefully earlier in the day next Sunday, you get down to Plymouth, the Healthy Living Expo, and check it out. And say hello to Candida. And that should be a great event. There's a lot of really super stuff she's got lined up for you, so get on down there and check it out. And hopefully we see you Thursday night at the Red Lion as well. Hey, until next Sunday at 8. Until that time, we thank, first of all, Tim for doing a great job behind that board. We thank Ed Perry. Thank you, Candida, as always. And again, until next Sunday, this is Mark Mincola reminding you all, please be wise, beware, and be well. Make it a healthy week. Good night.